Oddly enough, that type of a conversation is somewhat related to what we would be talking about today. That probably perked our ears up and our attention and say, oh, this is probably pretty neat, huh? And the reason we say that, okay, the liver has multiple functions. This is normal right here, okay? Your liver is always going to try to maintain that normal balance of a blood sugar level. And I would speculate that within the next, for you individuals, it probably won't be for another 10 years maybe, when you get off into your assorted careers or get off out into society, when you do take a job, there's going to come benefits with that, with your insurance plan, and one of them is going to be free checkups. It's just your insurance plan is going to probably call that not preventative maintenance, but it's just something that's included in your plan that it doesn't cost you anything to go to your personal doctor once a year. I'm sure there's a specific name for it. That is it. Wellness check. Yes, that's correct. And maybe some of your parents have said this before too. Gosh, I haven't seen a doctor in 5 years. I guess that's just their own personal philosophy, or just feel there's no need to do that. Well, that of course is their personal choice. I believe a dentist, I think your wellness visits for our benefits is two times a year. Okay, and with that, typically, especially when it comes to infections in possible infections in the brain, to me, you're always going to want to go see your dentist at least 2 times a year for that annual checkup, just because if there is some sort of infection that gets in your sockets, in your teeth, if they become, I think, impacted is the proper term, it's a pretty short highway for that to navigate up into your brain, that type of infection. And that's why it's always good to take advantage of those types of benefits. And that's also why, in your case, you probably floss your teeth at least once, maybe twice a day, or brush before you decide to call it a night at 10 o'clock at night. Who are we kidding, right? Hopefully it's 10 o'clock. Well, maybe it's about that time, then we put the phone away about half hour later. Because we're right. That's the face that I'm interpreting. And maybe it's not a half. Oh, jeez. It's actually 45 minutes. Okay. But is it dark when you have your phone out? Okay, because if so, that's bad. That's just my personal opinion. It's better to have some sort of light on, just because not only is it harder on your eyes, but I think it makes it harder for your brain to finally relax and slow down when you got that bright light, when it's just totally pitch black or dark in the room and you're looking at your phone. Okay. But anyway, back to this. Okay. One of the things that not only are the liver functions in sugar metabolism, it's also a very efficient filtering device. Does it filter things from the blood that are harmful to us? Yes. And it's called urea. Okay? That's very toxic to us. So when you hear the term urea, you're really thinking about what? And we go have a physical, you might have to have this type of test done, a urine test. Okay, so that urea gets filtered out in your liver, and it's water soluble, when it goes through the kidneys, if you want to call it through the rinse cycle, and then it gets filtered by your kidneys, and then that's how you pass it. Because since it's water soluble, that's what probably the majority of that urine is byproducts that you actually eliminate from the body. Okay. So not only is liver functions sugar, it's keeping a normal level, it's also helping you produce proteins because enzymes are also proteins. When we're talking about that pepsin and amylase or enterokinase, yes, those are all types of proteins. Okay, and they're processed in different ways, and your liver will also aid in that too. If my memory serves me right, last year, a lot of you were pretty good about getting out to the bloodmobile. Now, do you picture that? That's just something I feel I should do, something that I could do, or something that I want to do? Or is it all three? For me, it's all three. It's something that I can do. It's something that I, of course, choose to do, and I think it's important to do that. Now, some people uh, may choose not to ever donate blood, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that, oh my gosh, if you never ever donate blood, that you have all that same blood circulating through your body. Well, no, but it is healthy for a person to do that. And I like to visualize it as we all know, you got that little sticker probably up on your windshield that has a mileage on there. Now, would I be stereotypical that you don't pay attention to that someone else takes care of that for you for oil changes? You do pay attention to that, and then when it gets close, and it's so convenient here. You just call 534-3684. Or and maybe change your own oil. Okay. We used to do that a lot too, but I don't know. It's you also have to have the tools for it to also perform that function, and then your time is worth some money too. But it's just so convenient. Give Tim a call. Leave your vehicle parked out there. He comes with his I don't know, four-wheel track vehicle, or whatever you want, utility vehicle, and at least I think it's convenient. Anyway, but one of the ways I look at that is it's a way of changing your oil, because that way you're causing yourself to produce a lot of these clotting factors. Okay, now it's nice to have them in stock for when you actually do need them. Okay, and I was moving that darn ladder in that little gym, and I didn't realize it was on wheels, but I was trying to lift it up and move it, and that platform moves where the official stands on. So when I was lifting it up, that metal plate was coming up, and then I set it back down, and it slammed down and caught me right in the arm, pinched that. And yes, it did hurt a little bit, and it's starting to bruise a little bit. But what is actually a bruise? Do you know? Underneath the skin, what has happened? You got a broken blood vessel. Okay, so having these clotting factors is going to be an advantage, and it's nice to have them in stock and on hand for when something like that happens. Okay? Now, in certain cases, some people may have a really difficult problem with this, especially if they are maybe being treated for cancer. Okay? Does anyone think they might know why that is? There's something specific about their blood and a medication that they're taking. What might that be that medication does to their blood? It'll make it more thin, and it makes it tougher to clot. Okay, I think warfarin was one of those. Um, I think like Arnold Palmer would talk about that, and he was in a commercial along with Kevin Nealon or something to that effect, and some sort of race car driver. I can't remember. They were in a commercial promoting this uh, warfarin, I do believe. But and I don't know why that is, but doctors will prescribe some of these medications that thins the blood and it makes it more difficult for that clotting factor to take place. So it probably has something to do with affecting this function right there. Okay. So remember, we said it's one of those aspects we talk about getting your oil changed. Well, you're not ever going to build up them toxins inside your blood because then you'd be passing it on to someone else. Okay? That wouldn't be beneficial. That's why having this liver function normally is certainly going to be an advantage not only for you, but whoever receives the blood. I'd like to think that uh, maybe whoever receives my blood all of a sudden is going, I know you're lying, your lips are moved. All of a sudden they start singing. Where'd that, is that blood we got? Just tells stupid, sounds stupid all day. Why? Because he's talking. That's why. Okay. Anyway. But one of the things, I don't know how this study came out. The science is sound about that. Let's say, for instance, do you know how you as individuals build up your own immune system? Whether we've got Amanda's immune system, Madison's immune system, Paige's immune system, Kenzie's immune system. They're not all going to be the same, okay? But it's not that you would ever remember when you were growing up, but do you feel you were exposed to germs? Especially if you were dropped off at a daycare, why may individuals like that have a more well-developed immune system than when, as opposed to just staying home? Yeah, you're being around and being exposed to more individuals, and that's not bad, okay? But one of the things that I believe is when people do donate blood, if they have immunobodies or these memory cells that uh, can make antibodies to a specific type of bacteria, I certainly think that if they were prone to something like that when they're growing up and they receive blood from maybe one of you individuals that have those memory B cells, I think that jump starts their immune system. It probably helps them out quite a bit. Okay? And when we were going through this COVID process, I don't know how this study came out, that if someone has been exposed to, if you have antibodies in your body specific for COVID-19, what might that mean, do you think? That you do what? Well, and you could, but why would you as an individual have that then? Antibodies for COVID-19. Because you already had it. So you have those antibodies inside of you. And if you pass them on, is that going to be an advantage to the individual that receives that blood? Now, at one point, I believe that there was such a blood shortage because people were just afraid to go to the blood bank and donate that. But after my wellness exam, I stopped at the blood bank on a Veris campus, said, well, we only take appointments. So I was kind of disappointed didn't get to donate blood. But so let's see here. I think I even got a free t-shirt, 2 gallons. 2 gallons of donated blood. So I don't know, I think that's 16, so 16 people telling stupid jokes, maybe, or singing. I hope that looked out. I hope it's not me. Or something like. And all right. So Yeah, just because you if you ever don't ever donate blood, it doesn't mean you're going to be building these toxins. You got not only your liver, your spleen is going to take care of that, and other toxic substances like something like this. Do do we have any coffee drinkers out there? Hopefully not. Maybe so, but maybe reserve that for college next year and 2 years from now. All right. Because one of the things that happens, okay, if we look at ethanol, some of you organic students, how many carbons would that be? It would be 2 carbons. And if we're really good at understanding this, the suffix was OL. So what type of family is that? That's an alcohol. Very much like what you would see here. When we talk about this type of alcohol, there's types of ethyl alcohol in those different lyrics we were talking about, the margaritas, the shots, the beers, the wines, all of that has ethyl alcohol in there. But what happens is a lot of those molecules on there, again, they're water soluble, and the liver can grab them and put them, grab that so your kidneys can then filter that out. Okay, I had liver and small intestine. I'm thinking that we're getting pretty close to wrapping this up. We're on 39 of 42. So I got finished the chapter tomorrow. Okay, so we'll very easily do that. And then also, one of the things we want to do is the textbooks are back there. I've got one here. One of the things that you'll be responsible for, do you remember when you took your exams in physical science? Just like what you would see up here. Like, look at what the freshmen are doing at the end of this week. What does it say? Okay, what about chapter 2 though? Part 1, and we do something very similar. There's way too much information in this to say, okay, we're going to have 15 multiple choice questions. We're going to have 30, I don't know, it's not 30 matching, maybe 20. 20 matching, probably 2 or 3 essays and diagrams all in one 50-minute period. Let's have you save that for college. Now, whether that happens or not, I find that hard to believe. You probably have more time in college, but what I want you to understand is that we do not take these in one day. It's over 2 days. There's just too much material that's too vital to try to cram into one day. Okay, so one of the things that we need to do is go over different structures that you'd be responsible for naming, especially this one. Okay, and out there, it's something very similar to what you see here. It's just a diagram of the pancreas and the first portion of the small intestine, which is called what? We don't just, if you want to be specific about the small intestine, there are 3 parts to it. What's the first one? It's tough to say. I get it. Some people say duodenum. I always say duodenum, but I think probably duodenum is probably right. Then there's a specific part. The next one is called the duodenum, and then finally the ileum. And the reason that we call it that ileum is because that links with the first part of the large intestine, okay, the cecum. And for some people, the ileocecal valve is not functioning correctly. So if that valve is not functioning correctly, water can back up into perhaps their small intestine. It's not that it's going to cause a problem. It's just it is going to continually start to back up into their small intestine. So it's just a type of of muscular structures that may need to be replaced. So we'll be going over some of those the next couple days. Again, another evaluation on Friday, and then we will start reviewing next week for a couple of days of exam time. So that's what we've got coming up. So that's all I've got for today, unless there's something you need or want to add. Okay, we're wrapped up a little early, which is all right. So catch up to you next time.